People believe that JK and NewJeans' friendship has been confirmed by the label. We also have a moment where it seems like JK has asked Jimin to take his pants off, and that being a point of conversation as well as having the label apparently doing some takedowns. Say Dumplings, it's Dave Disci. Let's get into it. Now, if you don't know about this, this is definitely something that I wanted to put you guys on about, as it just happened. What used to happen was if you had an issue with content that was being made, the only way you could report it is if you just directly email this particular email that the label made to, keep track of what's going on online, because they can't see everything that's happening. However, I think this did create a little bit of a barrier with people, although I'm not sure how much of a barrier, because people were, at least in my opinion, falsely reporting things all the time, and it was still happening. So if it was this huge barrier, I would imagine that I wouldn't see as many people doing those. So what the label did was they created a forum or website that you can just go to and just fill in what the issue is. It lists things like you can click content that was posted on YouTube, you can click content that was posted on Twitter, and you can almost just directly target those things. However, it still, at least in my opinion, doesn't really change anything, because to me, filling out a form is the same as just opening your email and filling out the email. However, I guess this way, if there is something that happened that's bad and everyone is specifically saying it's coming from a specific site, they can kind of just sift through their inbox with the software to just show inquiries from that site, and then it'd be able to track things down. But I will say something which I have seen a lot of, where people are upset about a specific channel or they're upset about a specific news article. And instead of just targeting the specific news article or targeting the specific issue, they'll just put the entire channel or the entire news site into the report. I can almost guarantee you that someone who is working behind the scenes of the report that you hit send to, like whoever's receiving it, is not going to be able to go through the entire website and check out thousands and thousands of content or thousands and thousands of articles. They're just likely going to assume that what is being reported just isn't true. I am glad that the label is doing this, just like everyone else is probably glad that the label is doing this. I think it makes it easier to track down people who have been posting malicious things or who genuinely hate the boys, because it's not like comments like, oh, they're ugly or they're stupid, or comments like that, which are fine, I guess. People can have their opinion about whoever. You can call me stupid, ugly, whatever, that's your opinion. These are not things that someone could take legal action on. Also, if someone had an opposing opinion, like someone talking about something that BTS has done, or someone talking about something that any of the labels, artists have done, that's also not something that they could particularly call action on. That's just commentary, right? You cannot take down a video legally of someone just voicing their opinion about something. It might be annoying, you might be like, oh, I don't really like this horrible thing that's being said about BTS or any person, but it's their opinion and they can say it. For example, there are thousands of tweets and videos about how awful of a person I am. You can choose to believe that or not. Most of the people who are saying this have never watched the videos. However, I don't attempt to take those down. Those are people's opinions, and I welcome those opinions and those critiques. And I would imagine the label feels the same way. They're not against free speech, but they're against any speech that will cause harm to the boys, that will cause the boys to lose out on money or cause the company to lose out on deals or even cause health or safety issues. There's so many things that I've seen that warrant at least the post being taken down. Does it warrant like $1,000 or multi-million-dollar lawsuit over a post being made? Probably not, but some posts definitely should not still be up. There have been a lot of people who have been very upset over the alleged JK and NewJeans situation. This is the situation that recently people believe JK had addressed by saying it's never artists' fault, or artists are never guilty, or something along those lines. And there were posts that were saying that JK was being erratic or he was being weird or whatever it was, and him showing support to somebody is not considered a bad thing. He's allowed to show support to his fellow label mates, and he's definitely allowed to show support to people that he might be fans of or care about. And it's okay to care about another person, even if that person is a woman, because that's apparently controversial, right? JK is allowed to support someone, it just cannot be a woman. Now, there was this recent statement in which the label confirmed that the post didn't necessarily mean what JK said. It meant that artists should not be used as shields, and they kind of let everyone else figure out what it could mean, because they didn't fully address who or what this was referencing. Because obviously this would be referencing something, but we don't really need to know that. And we can kind of just take that as literally just the label being like, it's none of our business. We're not going to get involved in this. And at the end of the day, an artist has free speech and they're allowed to do whatever they want to do. And how we interpret that is more so our fault than it's his. He is being vague on purpose, just like when an artist writes songs, they're being vague. And then if we interpret it a certain way, we don't blame the artist, we should look internally and be like, are we interpreting this correctly? However, people did believe that the label confirmed the relationship between JK and the girls, and of course not romantic relationship, but just how much he might care for the girls. This is definitely a conversation that people don't talk about. Of course, someone who is in a label, who kind of not really raised the girls, but participated in maybe their early days, and I don't know if that's true or not, but I would find it hard to believe he didn't have any input, or wasn't aware of the girl group before it was formed, and didn't have any contribution. Could be a small contribution, but I would imagine that there was something. Obviously, if you're seeing this upcoming artist or this group that maybe you contributed in a tiny way and you're seeing them grow, you're gonna have feelings about this, and those feelings might be that you hope things work out. You might feel like they're being mistreated, you might feel a bunch of different things, and that is up for the interpretation of us or whatever we want to interpret it as. Some people believe this is a direct response against the situation and a direct response to the girls. Other people believe it's nothing like that, and this is just a coincidence that these two situations and words lined up with each other. And I'll let you decide what you believe about this situation, because I have discussed this before, but people are now having this debate right now of being like, oh, how much does he love the girls, or what is their relationship? I believe there could be a relationship there, and by relationship, I mean something platonic, because again, they're in the same label and likely JK saw them grow, and so I would imagine that he kind of sees the girls as opposite of a mentor, like the girls maybe see him as a mentor, and that's all. There was also a clip that recently came out in Are You Sure that has gotten a lot of people freaking out. This was definitely very interesting. I thought it was very funny. Now, this clip came from a screenshot of the boys having dinner or something, and they had a big spread. Our boys don't just eat little bits of food, they go full out, they eat. And I absolutely love that. Every time I see them eat, I get not jealous, but I kind of admire it, because I'm like, oh wow, that's a nice full spread. And of course, I would like to join them. Why not get an invite? There was clearly enough food for one other person. But jokes aside, Jimin was really full, and he of course talked about adjusting his pants or whatever, and then JK for some reason came in just to tell JK to take off his pants and to take off his underwear. Now, people have their opinion about this. I don't really have to explain what the opinion is. I'm sure you can figure it out. But I think that this was just a joke. I think it was something funny to say, and JK wanted something to say, because I also think that if the label was trying to hide that the two boys were dating or seeing each other romantically, they would not include clips like this. They would not include clips that they know that would make them look like they're dating, or even something that would maybe be considered raunchy like this. Like the staff would be fully aware, and they would be trying their best to hide any of those things. Because one thing that the community likes to say is that a lot of the romantic clips have been edited out by the editors. So if those clips have been edited out, the editors know that. One, the clips should be edited out, but two, then the editors know that they're dating. And so if you were an editor and you were aware that they were together romantically, and you were aware that the label wants to hide that, you would not include clips like this. You would just be more hyper aware of these small things, that something like this wouldn't be overlooked. You'd be like, oh, this kind of makes them look like they're dating. Does that make sense? It's like they would be hyper paranoid because they know something and they're trying to hide it. Whereas if the thing isn't happening, they don't know and don't have to be hyper paranoid, right? In fact, that thought might not even come to them when they're editing to cut something out, because they're not thinking, what would other people think of this? Of course, there are moments where JK and Jimin are also in bed together and snuggling, so people then put two moments together or several moments together, and they like to say whatever they like to say. But I think it's really cute, and obviously I think that they're just friends. I think that there is that brotherly vibe going on, and of course there is a cultural barrier between how we might treat friends or how we might treat someone that we see as a little brother. But whatever they are, as long as they're happy, I don't really care. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for leaving a comment right here. Love you. Bye.